I would like to call the June 16th, 2026 meeting of the North Smithfield School Committee to order at 6:33 p.m. Roll call, please.
Chair Bartimoli?
Here.
Mrs. Mayo?
Here.
Mr. Connell?
Here.
Mr. De La Cruz?
Here.
Mr. Simpkins?
Here.
We have a quorum. If we could stand for the pledge, please. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At this time, I would like to call recognition of committee member William Connell by Suzanne McPherson and grade 1 and SES students from Miss Foster's class. Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Jane Foster, and I've been teaching at North Smithfield Elementary School for more than 30 years. It still ceases to amaze me how much a child can grow within one single year. In my first grade classroom, we become authors of our own written stories after reading various shorts of Frog and Toad, a favorite series in our room. Students brainstorm a new adventure for Frog and Toad. Their story must contain a problem, a solution, and dialogue between characters. We publish a set of stories or a set of books and dedicate them to someone different each year. This year, we have chosen to dedicate our Frog and Toad stories to Mr. William Connell. Mr. Connell takes time each year to come into our classroom to share his favorite stories students talk about throughout the year. Mr. Connell, thank you for being involved in the North Smithfield School Department and for helping to ensure the best for our students. I have a few friends that would like to share their story with you.
My name is Reese Hendrickson, and I will be reading you guys a story. My story for Frog and Toad is called Camping. One sunny morning, Frog went to Toad's house. Toad, Toad, said Frog, do you want to go camping? Yes, said Toad, I want to go camping. Toad got the tent, Frog got the snacks, so Frog and Toad put the tent and the snacks in the car. Then Frog and Toad got into the car. They started driving. Bird drove the car. Thanks for driving, Bird, said Frog and Toad. Then Frog, Toad, and Bird arrived at the campground. Toad said, I will set up the tent. Frog said, I will get the snacks. And Bird said, I will get the forks and spoons. Suddenly, Toad noticed that he forgot the stakes for the tent. Oh man, said Frog. Wait, said Toad, how about we use sticks? Oh yeah, maybe that will work, said Frog. So they tried it. Oh no, it does not work, said Frog and Toad. How about we try hot dogs? Maybe that will work. Okay, said Toad. No, it did not work, said Frog and Toad. How about it? Toad, wait, said Frog, I've got an idea. How about we use a pencil and a bottle cap and we can glue them together? Okay, said Toad, so they tried it. Yay, we did it, said Frog and Toad. It's getting late, said Frog. We have to go to bed. Okay, said Toad. So they went to bed in the tent. The next morning, Frog woke up Toad. Good morning, said Frog. Today we are leaving. So they packed up and left the campground. When they got home, Toad said, I want to go camping again. But don't forget the stakes for the tent again. laughed Frog by Reese Hendrickson. My name is Charlotte, and I'm gonna be reading you my Frog and Toad book called Sewing Together. One windy afternoon, Frog called Toad. "Would you like to sew with me?" asked Frog. "Yes, I would," said Toad. Frog jumped into the car when he went to Toad's house and parked in the driveway. Frog was so excited he ran inside Toad's house. "Let's do it!" shouted Frog. "So let's make a pillow and a scarf," said Toad. "Here is a needle and a thread," said Toad. "Help! How do I do it?" asked Frog. "In, out," said Toad. Frog was frustrated because he couldn't do it at all. So Toad got his phone and called Snake for help. "Do you know how to sew?" asked Toad. "No, I do not know how to sew, but I know someone who does," said Snake. "Okay," said Toad. So Snake called Turtle. "Do you know how to sew?" asked Snake. "No, I do not know how to sew. Sorry, but I know a place where we can learn how to sew," said Turtle. "We can ride the bus to the sewing place called Sewing Adventure," said Turtle. "Yes, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to tell Toad and Frog," and said Snake. "I'll head over to pick everybody up," said Turtle. Frog, Toad, and Snake were so happy they shouted across the world. "Toad, Frog, hop in your car," said Snake. "Snake, come with me in my car," said Turtle. "We missed the bus," yelled Snake. So they all drove to Sewing Adventure. "Let's sew," said Snake. Frog got his first lesson. Toad and Snake got a lesson too. "Let's make a scarf," said Snake. Snake made a green scarf. Frog wants a green scarf too. Toad wants a brown scarf. Turtle wants a brown scarf too. And they all sewed Happily Ever After by Charlotte Robichaux. My name is Violet Wilson, and I'm going to read you this book. Breakfast. One cold morning, Frog and Toad went to the restaurant. "I'm hungry," said Toad. "Me too." "I'm hungry," said Frog. "Me too," said Toad. "I hope they have eggs," said Toad. "I love waffles," said Frog. Frog and Toad parked their car and they went into the restaurant. "Let's sit by the window," said Frog. "That's a great idea," said Toad. Frog and Toad sat by the window. So Waiter Bunny brought pancakes to Frog and Toad's table. "I like pancakes," said Toad. Said Frog. "I don't like pancakes," said Toad. Toad, Toad, Toad. Later, Bunny brought waffles. "I love waffles," said Frog. "I don't like waffles," said Toad. Toad was feeling sad and he was hungry. Later, Bunny brought eggs. "I like eggs," said Toad. "I do like eggs," said Toad. And Toad was feeling happy. They ate up all the eggs. That was a great breakfast," said Toad. "It was," said Frog. "Thank you for bringing eggs, Waiter Bunny," said Toad. "I am glad you like the eggs, Toad," said Waiter Bunny. By Violet Wilson.
Thank you very much. That's a great news.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. What? Wow, thank you so much. What are they gonna do? Gee. Nice. Oh, it's getting really embarrassing. I don't know what to say, except that was very impressive reading, very impressive artwork, and as Gene and I were at the I'll repeat what I said at the fourth grade commencement this week. Also thank you also to the teachers and the parents and the responsible adults, because this doesn't happen without all your input and work. So we just try to create an environment that is supportive of our teachers and staff. We don't do much. We'll admit it. It's everybody else. We just want to create the environment. It's you who do all the work, and we appreciate it very much.
This was a real treat for us to see what actually goes on in the classroom. So thank you very, very much. This was really special.
Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Foster. This was amazing. The children were wonderful.
They worked hard.
And they were very brave getting up there.
Yes, they were.
They were very brave. But you did great, and I wish you all a wonderful summer. Okay? Have fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 4, presentation by Colleen Brophy, founder of Dog On It, Animal Assisted Interaction Center regarding therapy dogs in schools.
If I could just add to that, I actually asked for this to be on the agenda because I had met Colleen and her pups at the career fair at the high school. And she explained to me her program, and I wanted everyone here to be able to hear exactly what they have to offer. And then when the tragedy of the hockey situation happened in February, Colleen arrived with her dogs and they all made such a difference. So I think it's very important that we hear what they have to say.
That's a tough act to follow, the kids.
Absolutely.
But if puppies is a second, right? I just
Do your
wanted,
best.
I wanted to say thank you all for having us. You're gonna have the formal PowerPoint, so I just want to do like a high level, and allow this time to ask questions, and I can always come back and answer more. But I wanted Sophie to come, and she kind of is the program, a big piece of it. We have been working with your school district for several years, and this year we had a few different, we came to the middle school, we did the pumpkin festival. We did the judge, I was able to be a judge this year. But a lot of the things that we do with the students is very career focused or peer mentoring. So some of the relationships that we've had, you guys, are senior projects. But I want you to see how she has gone above and beyond my expectations with what she's done. If you want to share anything, you can. I don't want to speak for you, but she came to me with an idea. Your students are very proactive the year before they come out. She wanted to talk about Alzheimer's because her grandmother was a very special connection and how dogs can be supported with that. And then she took it one step further with your mental health teams and bringing the dogs into the school. And then with the hockey incident, it was even more. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but when she's gone to college, she's already reached out to the college to get therapy dogs in there. So as far as she's going to bringing the visits to her own school district, bringing it to your local community centers with the nursing homes. That's a full-blown example. While she's not going to go into as a career, she has saw the value of how dogs can support her own family and her students as well. So that's kind of the big picture. It's much more than just petting a dog. It could be anything from you know, your gaps in education, your chronic absenteeism, your math scores, your reading. There's so much more that dogs can do for SEL and all of that. So it's, again, not just for petting dogs. Some of your students reading to dogs at all different levels. There's no judgment when the dog's reading to you, and it's exciting to read to a dog. So the sky is the limit as far as programs, but even working, having you come in, or when we come in for career day, and there's so many careers with dogs, not just a dog trainer. And it's a hands-on the experience in entrepreneurship, having your own business. So there's so many different pieces. I also do a lot of work with ORS. So that's opportunities for your school district to have them this summer, come out with us, and of course, this project. So, do you want to say anything about, as a student, how it helped you with your experience with dogs?
You'll have to go to the microphone.
I would say that getting to witness how the dogs can really impact the student body was something new, because our schools are really big on preaching mental health and how you can reach out to anybody in the school system, whether it be your teacher or a guidance counselor or even the principal. But speaking out about mental health and about how it's affecting you is not always the easiest opportunity. And when I brought the dogs to the students and I allowed them to interact with the dog while they spoke about it, it was more of a way for them to feel comfortable talking about it, because there was an opportunity for the dog to be with them and they could pet the dog. And it opened up a line where they can speak through the dog, or where they can just talk about it and they forget who they're speaking to, because they have the comfort of the dog with them. So there are many students who even opened up to me, and they were just talking about how it helped them and how it made them feel more comfortable and made them feel better. And it's not something that is easy to talk about, especially with the school districts. Like, it's not necessarily easy to turn to Mr. Pepin or Mrs. Gibbons or whoever will come and take Mrs. Gibbons' place, but it was easy for them to sit with the dog and get the same sense of comfort that those guidance counselors or teachers could provide them.
Because they want to do their job, and they're kind of, they get excited, and also in their defense, I'm the cookie master. And so sometimes they get excited when they see us. I just wanted to pause for a minute, and if you guys have any questions about any of the work, I can share stories and pictures of all of the things. This is a very sadly tragic year. We were at Bryant, we're at Brown, and we were with you folks, so. And like she mentioned, sometimes you just have to put your hand on the dog, and that's all you need, just for a minute. And there's so many fun things, parades and fairs, and that you can do. So again, the sky is the limit. And also for teachers, you know, you and educators and administrators, there's a big piece of you too. Then you can work with the dogs and get some comfort.
Would you like me to bring up the screen?
Say it again.
Would you like me to
Sure.
bring up the screen?
You'll all have access to this.
Oh. That I think that's the best I'm going to get without playing around.
That's perfect.
So.
That works. You can go ahead to the next slide. That's just a cover sheet. And that's Team Buddy. So again, tonight I want to just have an informal conversation with you. We have a relationship. Other things that what you might be able to incorporate if you haven't thought about it. So you can go ahead to the next slide. These are some of the things, senior projects, as a judge or a mentor, career day, mental health week, therapy dog visits. We came to the middle school this year. The Great Pumpkin Festival, she orchestrated the whole thing. That was part of her project. And then, of course, community support during difficult times. A lot of times the first question is, how do you even have a therapy dog? So there's a little educational piece about the first thing I'd like you to know is these dogs have to go to school. They're certified by me, and they have to have benchmarks and performance outcomes, just like students. But everybody has your first dog. Your dog is a companion or a family dog. Then your dogs have a job. So the next level is an assistance dog. How they assist the human is what makes a difference. So one-on-one is a service or an ESA, emotional support dog. the general public are comfort, compassion, or therapy dogs. You might hear the word facility dog, and that's a dog that's kind of assigned to an airport, a school district, a court, something like that. And teacher dogs are what we're using in my nonprofit, where the students are actually learning how to dog train with dogs. And all of those have different rules and regulations, federally and state. I think some of the things she mentioned of why dogs mattered, and I was hoping you could see a little organically. I knew the kids were nervous tonight when they, having to speak, and letting them pet the dog, kind of relax. But dogs just build connection, confidence, trust, belonging. There's all science. I've gone into some classrooms, and I'm at Beacon and Paul Coffee right now. We've done a psychology class. The kids talked about that, a biology class. So there's also science and all of those reasons behind, but again, we also recognize that not everybody's a dog person, and that's okay. But for those that are, we try to use everything we can for them. So go ahead to the next. So impact, and I think you have also seen firsthand, we discussed earlier in the senior projects or the career days and in the library when we were here after school break. But leadership roles, student career opportunities, mental health week, family engagement, and educators as tools for connection and support. And she's mentioned it mostly when you're having a conversation. You can use a dog as in your students with IEPs, where you're having somebody that has social anxiety, and the dog is no longer about them. The dog is a conversation piece. If you're teaching things like peer mentoring, you can use a dog that way, or just sad. And there's really no words that can be said right now, but there's unconditional love. Okay. This is just a little bit about my company. So you have heard me as Dog on It. This year we incorporate, so the bigger company is Rhode Island Assistance Dog Education Center, and Dog on It falls underneath that. This is a little bit of how I started. I have an office in Johnston. I have retail in the village, and we just got a property in Smithfield. So the flow of it is going to be owner trained programs going to professional trained programs, which opens up opportunities for students. I've been working again with ORS, Foster Gloucester School District, with their seniors, their transition academy kids. They've been actually coming. I have 5 German Shepherds in the program, and they have been training the dogs just like any of you would come. So I'm having a vision where students can do CTE, senior projects, summer internship, and actually get a job and do some work with us. And it can be everything from dog training to kennel work to breeding to we have the property, they like to do landscaping. So students of all abilities and veterans as well. So entry, re-entry. These are some of the things, again, reiterating what we talked about: student opportunities, school opportunities, and community opportunities. Some of these, again, I'm working with Paul Coffey, got an SEL grant. So we've been really targeting specific things within the school. Beacon went a different direction. They have one of my dogs is their facility dog. And I could talk all day about this 90-pound German Shepherd that goes in their life and, oh my God, Moose, it's Moose Monday. If they're his best friend, and kids just all over him. I had a bad day. Can you come down? It's really making a difference. To the point, like it's hard. I cry when I see it because there's friendships, there's connections. The teachers too. He goes into class and, they just had a math test and I'm like, oh, Moose loves math. So we got, so you can, again, there's a connect. So the difference too, when we backstep, when I come in and visit you, you may have other dogs that come in. So your therapy dog visits, we come in. A facility dog is more like, it's your dog. And if it's either a handler comes in, I'm doing that, piloting something with them where it's my dog, but we have a contract with them. You could even get your own dog. I know that this is going to talk about that with your SROs, where you have a district dog that comes in. So it either could be one of you or somebody in the community, like an educator. It's their dog, they're trained, and they come in regularly. Or you could have therapy dog visits like that we do. So that's, again, depending on what you want to do and how deep you want to dive.
Cool.
And this is, like I said, we've had a relationship with you for so long. And I think this year really The happiness of the October Festival, the Pumpkin Festival was great to see. We're going to be back both days this year. And then it was an honor to stand beside you through that tough time. And I have to just say to you, I'm so impressed how you handled the situation and these students. There was so much love and support. As a mom, and seeing that was incredible. You guys did incredible work. And that's just working together again as a community. So do you have anything that I didn't say that is important for them to know? How about questions from you guys?
I know for myself, I think it's amazing. We had a dog, we lost him last year, and it leaves a hole in your heart. And others here have gone through the same thing. And I will say, Sophie, I was one of the judges for your senior project, and you were amazing. You were amazing. I mean, I think we all discussed how your project came from your heart. And I wish you the very best with it. Anybody else?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that what you do is amazing. I think it's a great service. I know that my boys have both interacted with at least one of your dogs at some point, and they have both enjoyed it greatly. It's made their day better. They come home, they talk about it. It's the highlight of their week. So thank you for this. And I learned so much about what you do. It goes well beyond what I thought. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I was just wondering, is there a fee associated with this, or how does
So
that work?
I believe in the work very much.
Mhm.
That I put my own personal time into it because I believe in what we're doing for students, especially when there's a lot going on. I am personally trying to get as many grants as I can to fund the work. And if there's opportunities, like some of the school districts had said that if there's something that comes up, we can partner, but it would never stop me from not doing the work. I will come anytime that you need me. And like I said, I'm trying to, as a nonprofit, to get together and do the funding through that way. But if there's grants and you see them come and you want to work together, absolutely. But again, I will never say no.
All right. Well, it's a wonderful program, and I was, as I say, so impressed with everything you had to say that I just needed you to come and talk to
Yes.
everybody here. So I thank you very,
Yes.
very much.
We can tie everything into everything that the governor and the commissioner are pushing for you guys as far as initiatives and stuff like that. We can tie all the, like I said, chronic absenteeism, and I think math is your thing right now, and just really work together because there's a lot of, like I said, there is a lot of supports in this, in other states that are doing this. There is it was created by, I think, a principal, a nurse, some other administrators and educators, and a dog trainer, and they only do SEL dogs. I think it's in Michigan, and all they're doing is training dogs for districts. So that would be a facility dog. So there's tons of everything I talked to you about. There's lots of data and research to support it. So that's where I'm trying to get the grants, and I do. There's some people that are breed specific, or they think about like horses. They breed them to win, so they do the same thing. If a dog, how much do you think a service dog costs? Yeah, 25 to 40,000. So that's a fully trained dog. So so if you're going to train a dog, they want to try to have the dog that's the most capable. However, I'm a huge rescue fan, and I believe that if the dog has a heart and you can give them the job, they can do it. So I do a lot of rescue work. So that's other areas of opportunity for me with funding. So
I was going to ask because I know service dogs and I know families who have gotten service dogs for their disabled children. And rescues, because it seems like the pounds are full of
yes.
rescues. And those dogs seem to want the love. So
they want the job.
you do reach out to those dogs.
I work a lot with Kate from Little Rhodey Rescue. She's adopted over 13,000 dogs in her career. So we do all over the Tennessee, Louisiana, local, wherever there's a dog, but they want a job, trust me. They really want to do the work. And we do a lot of mental health. I'm an autism mom, so I'm personally inspired by the work of what my son has, what I've seen it do for that. So, and dogs have tracks, she was originally supposed to be a service dog. She loved people so much, it wouldn't be fair for her. So she kind of got me out of the service dog into the therapy. So she's my ambassador. So it's just like us. What are you good at? What do you want to do? And if that's the dog, if it's in their heart, then we just train them for it. So. But that's the part with the students that we miss out. Not everybody wants to be a veterinarian or a vet tech. So there's other areas of opportunity for that, and it's a great for them to explore. Career exploration has been very big. And like I mentioned, the students that I want to hire them, these kids from Pontiac, they're so passionate, they're so good about it, but sadly, people don't give them a chance. Because they don't look like, they don't fit the description, but they're heart driven. And if you give them a chance, they'll do the work. So the same thing with all of our students. So the dogs and the humans, right? So, but so any way that you can see dogs fitting in, even if it's an after school program or something you want, I'm always willing to pilot. So.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. So well behaved. Good luck next year,
Yes.
Sophie. Yes.
Yes, good luck.
All right, moving on to public comment. You have anyone? Yeah.
We've had a lot of presenters tonight, so we
did.
maybe no
We
comment,
did.
but a lot of presenters. That's great.
Okay, no comments, nobody online, correct? Moving on to the consent agenda, discussion, vote, or other action. Is there anything anybody would like to pull? Or is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to pull out 5A.
Anything else? All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 5A?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second, go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Simpkins, 5A?
Yeah, so this is a new policy or an updated policy, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood some of the changes here. So there's some title changes, it seems like make sense. And then are we also adding in the deans from the 3 schools as well as the athletic director to be covered under this policy?
They have been,
They have been.
yeah, admin,
have been.
under admin support.
Okay, got it. And then I just have a question about the PTO. Because it seems like a fairly significant change between the PTO awarded every year and the rollover amount. I'm a little bit concerned about, I guess liability, like at Rhode Island, you have to pay out PTO days, right? So if somebody leaves the department, leaves the school department and they have accrued a full 45 days of rollover and they have earned their 30 days for that year, it's potentially a significant payout for the district. And that would be 10 days more than it would be under the current policy. So I guess
So at the start of the year, you don't get everything.
that was one of my questions. Yeah, how is it accrued?
So for example, I am retiring. August is my last month. My contract rolls over now. Doesn't my vacation days? I get vacation days. I don't get all my vacation days on July 1st. So when I leave, I don't have all of a full year's worth of unused vacation that would then be returned. Actually, my contract is I don't roll over anything. So I'm a bad example, but
Should have done a better job negotiating.
yeah, I know.
No, that makes sense. And so it is specified in there how the days are awarded. Wow, my Rhode Island just came out, awarded for sick days, which is
Mhm.
July 1st every year, but it's not specified how PTO days are accrued. It just says accrued. Is that something that we should make explicit in there? Because it wasn't clear to me reading it.
Alicia, do you have a?
Sorry. Vacation days are a little different because they're more legal than sick days. So your vacation days are truly your days. They are prorated. So if somebody comes in and they're given in July, but they are prorated. So if someone comes in December, they would only get 7 months worth of that allotment for the fiscal year. Same thing if somebody leaves. It's a benefit for the employees. We don't have things like severances and such. We don't have a sick bank, the admin team. So there's a lot of things that we don't have that we try to do to protect ourselves. You don't see like abuse, in those types of situations. So yeah, we have been carrying it as a liability for the last few years, and we're not seeing anything that would be significantly different than we have in the past.
Um, you don't have a sick bank? It says right in here that
So we individually, I'm sorry, I should have clarified. Individually, we can accrue our sick days and they are, let's say someone is sick with an illness or something. We don't have a bank between us. Sorry, I should have just
okay, that
clarified.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Like the teachers and the support have a bank
Yeah.
that they can go to, or they can ask for donations and stuff for the employees. We don't have that. We just have our individuals. So if somebody came in and they, had an illness right away or something, they could use that vacation time if that's something that they had saved up. And we do expend all time. So if someone is out, they do have to use all the time that's on the books. So that does include vacation and personal.
And then my only other question is just around the rollover, and I guess generally, are we in a situation where there's a lot of days being rolled over year to year right now? Like, because that is a liability for the district. I'm just like trying to gauge where we're at with that.
You have most of your administrators are already at the 40. It just is an additional benefit, basically, a way to give a little something when maybe wages aren't exactly as good as they could be across the board when compared to other districts. These are just different ways to, have some security for your employees.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to accept item 5A?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to Superintendent St. Jean's report, end of year summary.
I'm going to call this document up. Mhm. Oh, I have too many tabs open. I think we'll do that one. That was not the right one. So at the end of every year, what I've been doing is putting together just a document celebrating the successes and highlights of the year. And just click that. So I'm not going to go through all of this. I'll touch on a couple of things, but what I will do tomorrow is send it out to the teachers, the community, all of our parents, town council, just blanket the community with it. It's just to show you the extent of what we provide our students and the community and the families during the course of the year. So a couple of things to highlight is academically, our success has been continues to grow year over year. And I've just shared, and I've shared this in the past, our RICAS, English Language Arts and Math, SATs, PSATs. And just to give you an idea, North Smithfield, English Language Arts, grades 3 through 8, we're ranked number 5 out of 36 districts in the state. And if you go down, you can take a look at math, number 6 out of 36. 10th grade PSAT for English Language Arts, 5 out of the 36 districts. And then we have math, 5 out of 36, and then SATs, ELA, and math, 6 out of 36. So consistently within the top 10, if not the top 5. And just also a comparison compared to the Rhode Island average in each of these assessments, and crosswalking across the border to Connecticut and Massachusetts that has the equivalent assessment, that North Smithfield is significantly higher than Rhode Island averages, Connecticut averages, and Massachusetts averages. So academically successful. We have some additional highlights, calling out different our grade levels, students, special ed students, socioeconomically challenged students, and then where we rank across the state. Elementary school, just a number of the partnerships that they've had with the high school. We have so many wonderful high school students doing work at the elementary school, and it's just great mentoring, modeling, our great leadership team, all these family engagement activities, keeping our kids safe at night, family health fair, World Read Aloud Day, which Mr. Cannell was a part of. All the different professional development opportunities, and then over at the middle school, like academic achievement, improvements and proficiencies, school improvement teams and what they've been working on, our multiple tiers of supports, for academic success. Each of the schools, attendance is a huge issue across the country. Chronic absenteeism, we're often highlighted for our reductions in chronic absenteeism, the amount of the number of students coming to school every day consistently, and again, a year-over-year improvement, often being recognized as one of the most improved in the state. And that comes with a lot of hard work from our teachers and the family engagements, etc. Mental health, our students, Sophie mentioned, the focus on mental health and the fact that the therapy dogs were here. That was brilliant. Actually, I glanced over at Claire a couple of times, and our minds were spinning on some possibilities. So fit in very well. Other achievements and events at the middle school, unified sports, that was a tremendous recognition that our students received here. And of course, music. So much focus on the high school music program. If you take a look at the awards that our middle school music receives, it is truly a setup for success for an amazing high school program. And then the high school, this is the longest. I mean, there's a lot going on here. And again, I'm going to share this out. You can take a look at it at your own leisure. One of the big highlights was the NEASC visit and the accolades that the high school received from the visiting team for New England for school accreditation. It was just an amazing showing and very good feedback and recognition of the hard work the high school teachers and administrators do. then continuing on, and of course, the music program. And then athletics, a tremendous winning, challenging athletic season of growth and success and tragedies and learning and from fall cheerleading to girls volleyball, girls soccer, boys soccer, football, our winter sports, how amazing our teams did, our spring athletics. It was just a incredible year. Every year is an incredible year. And it seems like every year, this document that I put together gets longer and longer and more robust. And it's just strength over strength over strength. And just a wonderful stuff. So I'll send it out to everybody tomorrow.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a minute.
You helped get us here, so thank you.
I just put the document together. That's it.
Okay.
And even at
We'll
that,
go with that
it was a
for
lot of
tonight.
the principals put the document together. So it's I just, and I put in the pictures. So it's just some words and pictures. That's it. Everybody else. Yes, and I'm going to turn this over to Claire. She wants to go over with you the grants that we've received this year and then some
Slide through it.
possibilities.
It's really just an update. And so in addition to local funding, our school district actively pursues grant opportunities. And so there's restricted grants and there's also competitive grants. And sometimes every now and then someone will say, well, why can't we use that for blank, something within the district? And so the way I usually explain it is it's like writing a grant for solar panels on your roof, getting the grant and then trying to pay your mortgage with it. So we can't use these funds for our regular expenses, but we do work really hard. And there's some real smaller grants, like a Kyle Cares grant at the high school, and it's a few $1,000s, but that helps mental health and wellness initiatives. We have a Champlin grant that Mr. Durango, a tech ed teacher, wrote and was awarded this year. And he has new equipment and those printers called the 3D printers, but also there's machines that it's like a 3D printer, but it's wood. It's actually very, very fun to see. We also applied for a SERVE grant, and that's a federal grant, was a competitive grant. It's about $70,000 that we just found out we were awarded, yet we don't have the funds yet. And that was, we were able to apply for that because of the hockey tragedy. And so ideally when we do get the funds, although there's a lot of red tape with it, but when we do get the funds, we will be working on putting extra supports in our high school at the beginning of next year for counseling supports, guest speakers, things of that nature. There's a big one that's was submitted on Monday, and I have to say a huge shout out to Mr. Garrity, our high school principal, and Miss Rawson, who really headed this grant, but it's the rural health grant. And so with these funds, North Smithfield High School will establish a healthcare, career, and technical education pathway with an emergency medical services, EMS, and emergency medical technician, EMT, concentration. And so this program is specifically designed to address the healthcare workforce shortages that affect North Smithfield. It's pretty hefty and it's actually very exciting. So hopefully we'll find out in July and actually be able to start running programming where students can take a course and be EMT certified before they leave high school or quickly thereafter. They have to be 18 to take the test. So it depends when our seniors turn 18. But we're very excited about that, and a lot of work went into it. We also have restricted grants, and those are the Perkins funds, which is allocates about $34,000 to our business pre-engineering and our music CTE programs. We have categorical funds, which are also for CTEs, and those are specifically for business and pre-engineering. We have our Title I funds, and this is actually a large grant. It's about $190,000. The way we get Title I funds is through
through our poverty. And so we have 26% of our students live in poverty, which is it climbs every year, but we're up to 26. And the state, the federal government, then funnels the funds through the state, who funnels it to us. And so the poverty brings it into the district. And then we allocate it towards the students that need it. And so it's for our reading specialists. So it partially funds our reading specialists at the elementary schools. So it could be a student from an affluent family that needs some intervention in readings. So poverty brings it in, but it goes out to those in need. We have Title II funds. Title II is specifically for professional development. And so we have partially funded a teacher coach, an instructional coach that team teaches with teachers. I actually got some surveys back from teachers. And the way we monitor that is through student achievement and also through feedback from teachers. And teachers love having coaches in the room and team teaching and just working, fine-tuning their craft. So that's been a wonderful initiative. But we also have a partnership with New England Base Camp. An example with that for that would be we have a new science program newish science program at the middle school. It's our second year of implementation. And New England Base Camp did professional development for our teachers, focusing in on implementing that particular science program. And that's all paid for through or funded through Title II. We have Title IV funds, which I think are the most fun because those that's really dedicated to fostering well-rounded students. And it's about a $20,000 grant that we get that supports the clubs. And we've run 60 different clubs at the middle school and the high school this year. And it typically comes from the students. The students will find a teacher, hey, can you sponsor this club for me? So it could be the Taylor Swift club or the chess club or the Beyblade club, which I don't know what that is, but I see it quite a bit. A lot of students apparently attend that. But there's just a variety of clubs. There's a tennis club, any karaoke club. So they're really fun and they run throughout the year. And
the Dungeons and Dragons.
And Dungeons and Dragons club, a club for everyone. And so students have to fill out literally a one question survey, because we know if there's more, they may not fill it out, a one question survey. And that question is, did this club increase your sense of well-being, belonging in the school and engagement in school? And we had 90% of our students that gave it the highest score. And so, they don't fake it, right? So we're really happy with that particular grant. And then we also have IDA funds that Ms. Welch writes the grants for those, and that's for our students with disabilities. And so most of our, if not all of our extended school year for our students that have special needs are funded through the IDA funds. And there's other smaller grants, there's a variety of grants, but we really do work hard to extend and refine what's going on in the district and make it just really meaningful experiences for our students. And so I just thought I'd share that out with you all of where we are and where we're going. And we're always looking for another opportunity to extend what we do. Any questions? Thank you.
Just a quick question. How much are we talking in terms of grants, like annually?
So I didn't have
I
it
know,
up.
I just feel like there's so many programs. I know there's a lot of it small dollars, but
One, two,
Usually around 5 million.
wow.
yeah,
It's an IDA titles alone.
yeah, that's excellent. So, and it's a lot of times it's the icing on the cake and it's wonderful. So thank you.
Any other?
No, just really appreciative of, really appreciative of all the efforts made, because we are not the most highly funded district by a long shot. We're on the lower end by far, not the end, but we're on the lower end. And we need to get, this is what we need to do to survive, is to get these grants.
Mhm.
And it's great to see that we have a team that does it.
And honestly, I couldn't wait to tell you about the healthcare grant because I know that that's something that we've wanted to do in the past. The $300,000, a lot of the funds are, we literally have a room where we're bringing it's like a mock, but an ambulance within the room will be built within the room where students will learn how to be an EMT. And so as that unfolds, we didn't get it yet, but it was such a strong application. I'm feeling very positive. And again, Mr. Garrity and Ms. Rawson really deserve the credit for that.
And the main thing that we always have to look at with grants, do we build into something that's sustainable? You know, because it's one thing to get the money,
Right.
but then when the money goes away, what do we do? At least with the rural healthcare grant, a lot of it is front loaded for the setup, for the equipment, for the initial training, and then and it runs multiple years, but it's to set the school up so that you can then continue to run it afterwards. It's very much like what we did with the COVID money. We had a lot of COVID money. We put it on things that had long-term usage that we could sustain after the money went away. You know, so it's not just taking this and going nuts and buying things and spinning off programs. It's very thoughtful, biggest bang for the buck, you know, something that we can hold on to long after.
I have one.
Go ahead.
No, I just have a question. How long is the rural health plan grant projected to last? How long is the rural grant? About 3. Thank you.
And when would that start if we,
So we
Got
would
it.
like it to start.
great.
And how much is that total grant, just the rural?
$300,000 and
Right.
there's multiple rounds.
Okay.
So, but the first round is $300,000.
Yeah, and that's just us. That's just North Smithfield. That's not, there are 14 districts that qualify for it. And it's $1 million+ annual grant. And our allocation is 300,000 in the first round. They didn't allocate us, but Claire has and I say Kim and Dan have put together such a package that they won't stop giving us money because it is just that impressive.
Well, thank you to everybody for their hard work to give us this little icing on the cake. It gives us the extras that we can continue with without causing issues with our funding.
And it may address the CTEs that we're constantly talking about too, retaining some of the students, so.
They really have big ideas about how to expand it. So start with that EMT, then bring in a CNA program, then bring in a biomedical for students going into nursing or medical researcher.
Physical therapy, so.
They were pretty amazing. Mr. Garrett,
Well, thank you.
Very exciting, really.
Moving on, informational personnel resignations, retirements, leaves of absence, and appointments. We only have one resignation.
Just want to wish Miss Idabaya all the best.
Yes. Item 2, extended school year, grant funded, 26-27 school year only, and summer school appointments. All assignments could change based upon district student needs. We're all set there.
Are you fully staffed? Fully staffed. Yep. Ready to go.
Item 3, coaching appointments, fall season 26-27 school year only.
We have a couple of vacancies, which I think have already been filled. So they should all be filled on the next agenda.
Because I was asked this past weekend, concerned with soccer, and those are the vacant ones.
Yep, we had a coach move on to another district, so we had to post and refill.
Moving on to old business, excuse me?
Sorry, 2 of the coaches, I'm pulling off the agenda. They are going to appear at the next agenda. They're switching. they're switching their positions, and so I need more paperwork on them.
Okay, which
That's
two
it.
would those
So it
be?
would be Scott Kerrigan and Zach Kerrigan. They'll appear on the next agenda,
Okay.
just so you know.
All set? Bill?
Yep. got it.
Okay. On old business, FY 26 operating capital budgets, discussion vote or other action.
So as years past, we request that we have another meeting to close out the year.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, we meet with the well, we don't meet, but the town will start the workshops. So that'll be the 22nd, the 23rd, and probably the 24th, usually book for 3 days. So we would be hopefully looking to meet June 29th or 30th, so that you could adopt the budget for next year, close out this year. We can do recalls, all those important things that we want to get in before the fiscal end. So plan was the poll or whatever's easier for you all, just a request for a meeting.
29th or 30th. Okay.
And the time is open. It doesn't have to be,
Yeah,
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 it could
we-
be more flexible time wise.
usually we do it like early afternoon, whatever works.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest stop the 29th, because then if we have the 30th, if we need it, after that, we're in the next fiscal year, right? That's a problem, right? We have to adopt it before July 1, right?
Right, so we should have all of our information from the town. That's where the lag is, hopefully by the 24th at the latest. That'll give us enough time to turn things around, whatever you're comfortable with.
Was it the 24th or did they mention the 25th?
I did hear them mention that, but that's Thursday.
I
Right.
think that
So
was
I
for
don't know
the.
how
char-
far off.
Oh,
The
maybe.
charter-
I
the
think that was the
maybe that
charter
was the
meeting on
part.
the.
Okay.
Yeah,
25th.
I'm pretty
All
sure
right,
we're
so
gonna
they
start it on the
should know-
22nd.
We should know by Wednesday.
We should have our number by Wednesday.
Okay.
And state aid is already enacted, so, and Tony has that information, so everything should be, we should know what we have to work with on Wednesday, by Wednesday.
And I'm sorry, I won't be around at all that last week. I'm sorry. So I won't be here for the 29th or the 30th.
How dare Jean go on
I'm
vacation?
sorry. I'm so sorry. Honestly.
Would it make sense to try for the 26th, like in the afternoon? So that we have those two.
I don't know if I can turn it around that fast, because
Okay.
it just,
All right.
I don't know if
That's
it's
fair.
gonna be Wednesday night by the time we
Yep.
get our number, so yeah, we need enough time.
No, I got it.
Yeah,
I was saying just like kind of post it in anticipation of. But I'm fine with, I have some flexibility, so I'm good 29 and
Well-
30.
While I know you'll pull everybody, but at the same time, while we're sitting here, so if we're looking at the 29th.
I'm available both.
I may be out of town. Those 2 days.
Well, there's still.
There's still
three
a
of us.
quorum.
still three.
There's still three.
Around.
Okay.
Jean, yeah, I did that.
I'm leaving the 26th. I
Okay.
won't be back until the 3rd. I'm so sorry.
No, well, we got,
You're fine.
I'm available. So we got
Okay,
3.
I'm available. All right.
And usually it's just quick. We just need to adopt the budget and
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to leave here and then your poll shows that nobody can
Yeah.
make it.
I
Right.
think the record for that meeting was 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll try and break that.
And- And Jean was running it, so she holds the record
She was.
for the most efficient school committee meeting ever.
Yes.
They haven't attempted to break it, but they've not been broken. I know people.
As early as.
All right, do we need a vote on that?
But we don't have a date yet.
No.
Okay,
No.
all right.
You want to discuss the time?
I'm
Do it
okay.
now.
Chris?
Whoever's available, are you available in the
And I have no life. I'm open all day.
I don't either. So whatever time works for
Okay.
you. I don't do 8 AM.
Oh,
No,
no.
Okay.
No, no, no.
I have something in the morning on the 29th, but from 1 on, at 1.
We'll do early afternoon.
Oh, or
1 o'clock on.
Oh,
1 o'clock.
okay.
Good, yeah.
That's nice.
From 1 on, 1 PM on, I'm sorry.
Oh, 1 PM on.
This thing on.
All right. Okay. And then item 2 of old business, FY 27 operating capital budgets, discussion, vote, or other action.
So
Same,
yeah, we're
Okay.
just gonna have our meetings next week and we'll go from there.
okay? Moving on to item 3, discussion, vote, or other action, athletic field and facility, self-hosting management, procedures, pricing, and next steps in the process.
Yeah, so this is fun. So actually, the first thing I want to,
Food trucks.
I want to take a look at with you is you've seen bits of this in various forms. It's the procedures on the field use, field rentals, the pricing. And one of the things that we've worked to is to make it as accessible to our booster groups, our town groups. And so, and we also clarified the insurances that are required. And I think a lot of that has settled down. People have gotten used to it. They've been working with the business office and the athletic office, and they get it, and they're uploading they're sharing their insurances, and things seem to be settled a bit on that. So just take a look at the different groups. Group 1, school and town, municipal. Group 2, North Smithfield parent volunteer organizations, and they give examples, and it also on this one talks about what kind of insurance that they would have to provide. Group 3, NS Youth Organization. Now, these are town-sponsored rec programs, nonprofit youth groups, with at least 80% being North Smithfield residents. And we'll talk about some of the specifics on how we see this working. And then Group 4 are the for-profit organizations or outside of North Smithfield. So in the pricing structure, we're looking at Group 1, North Smithfield School and Municipal and volunteers, no charge for interior spaces. Back in the day, back in the past, there was a $10 application fee. There was like 10, $20 for the use of the room. Not going to charge. All right. You're there, you're supporting the schools. So if they need to hold meetings or things like that, there's no charge for these groups. Now, NS Youth Recreation. This TBD is to be determined. So looking at the interior spaces, auditorium, gymnasium, cafeteria, even out for the basketball court, softball field, baseball fields. We've been looking at a no charge for that. All right, so North Smithfield Little League, you want to use our field in the summer, we can arrange that, right? However, there's a bit of a stipulation in that when you get into the weekend or evenings or weekends, a custodial charge. So what we would like to ask and hope we can see is that when a town league uses books, reserves, our softball field or baseball field, that they leave it the way they found it, that they bust their own tables, so to speak, that come in, enjoy. After you're done, though, kids, parents, just pick up your stuff. All right, because otherwise we would reserve a right for a custodial fee. And it's tricky for us for weekends because we don't have weekend custodial staff. So if we were to bring somebody in, it's time and a half. So custodial rate, $50, time and a half, $75 an hour to clean up a mess that hopefully they would have cleaned up on their own.
Is there a minimum hour? Is there 4-hour minimum on overtime?
They wouldn't, they wouldn't work a 4-hour shift to clean up after something
No,
like that.
I know that, but I,
Called in,
if they
required to pay them,
Oh,
4 hours, correct.
state law.
oh, yeah, that's, oh,
So it's a two
I
hundred
forgot about
dollar,
that.
it's a
Yes.
$200 cleanup
Mhm.
for a weekend.
That's like when we try to book police details, it's a 4-hour.
It's a
Minimum.
4-hour minimum.
That's all right. Okay. A good incentive to clean up your stuff.
Bring your own trash bag.
Yeah,
Don't just pile it.
right.
Silly question, what could we go Monday?
Sometimes we have people who use facilities back to back. You know, and yes, they do some cleanup on Mondays, especially up where the turf field and the restrooms are concerned. But that takes them out of the school, and the morning shift, they have duties in the morning. So again, we would prefer if town organizations using our facilities book it and clean up after it. So we'd like to try that.
Yeah, we'll give it, I mean, I think the idea is that we're gonna try it, since we're not gonna, if we're not gonna, since there's a vendor holding it, right, we're gonna try and do some of ours, do it all in-house, is that the idea?
And
And volunteer.
when we get into the next part,
Okay.
that's where it's going to start getting trickier. But and then for the Group 4 nonprofit, again, we've talked about this before, and we don't want to be the Civic Center for the North and just have everybody from outside booking our auditorium and coming in. That stuff is really reserved for town, you know, in school. Now, and again, we're going to have a longer discussion as far as the exterior. You know, the basketball court, softball field, baseball field. Not that they're lining up necessarily to book that, but when you get into the turf field and the track, that's where 150 an hour is generally a base price. Wherever you go in the state, it ranges 150, 175. But I'm going to move on to another slide to actually talk about this, because that turf field, the whole renting and managing it, that for the past 3 years hasn't been under our, we've had a contract handling all that. So what we're going to do is talk about next is not having the contract and doing a self-host, right? Because I'm going to try to be very delicate in the way that I present the pieces coming up next. So before we get into the specifics, turf and the track, how do you feel generally about Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and just trying to make our facilities that much more accessible, but also asking for them to help us with it? Now, in here, we're not talking about opening up the bathrooms. We have porta johns out there. We haven't opened up the restrooms for baseball games and things like that. The restrooms had been opened for summer basketball, some usage, but again, that was when it was under contract versus now it's our custodians. So generally though, yes.
So we're looking at group number 4, and we're under fields, basketball, softball, baseball. We've got that hourly fee.
Mhm.
That does not include custodial.
No.
So tack 200 onto
Well,
each of it.
because here's the other thing is that, let me switch over to the next piece. I think this is a good segue, because there's a degree of complexity here that most people everybody out there, so many opinions and so many areas of expertise, but none of them really quite get the extent of what it takes to manage this, especially with limited resources. So we put together this sort of comparison grid as we look at not renewing the contract and self-hosting. What does that mean? And so financially, when we were doing the contract for the field management, we weren't paying somebody to manage the field. They were paying us to manage the field. We were getting a minimum of $35,000. Right? We got that. They would pay us quarterly. All right. We didn't pay for it. Additionally, through the concession stands, we were getting roughly $7,000 a year for somebody else to do concessions. All right, they were renting the space from us. And within that, I'll jump down to them specifically. So for us to self-manage, now we would collect the rental fees directly. There's no guarantee. It depends on who's renting, weather, cancellations, availability. We can't tell you that we will get X amount of dollars in rental. Like when we were under contract, 35,000, 7,000, all right, minimum. So plus it is now our responsibility for staffing and for cleanup. Right. So we're going to be out of pocket, maybe, or we're going to have to tack on surcharges for rentals. So basically, we are going to assume the revenue risk as opposed to just getting the guaranteed thing. So the scheduling part of it, that's actually the easy part, right? So the contract manages the scheduling, rental requests, contracts, customer inquiries, event communications, invoicing, while prioritizing district events. So us self-managing, we would assume the responsibility for scheduling, customer service, invoicing, insurances, contract administration, collection, rental coordination. We do have an athletic director. We can schedule. We do have a new system that we've put into place that will facilitate online scheduling and bookings and uploading of insurance certificates and invoicing. Now, we're paying for that. It's $2,700 a year to give us that capability. There's other things that this system will do. I mean, we need it anyway. We now have the capability for the scheduling and the invoicing.
Excuse me. Will
Yes.
the invoicing require a deposit? So we're not chasing?
I'd prefer not to do that because then you're breaking up the billing and
Okay,
someone's gonna track all of that.
okay.
You know,
And it
it's like
just puts more
resources
on-
that I don't wanna waste
Okay.
on something like this, like, you know, whatever we do, but that's just, it's resources, you know?
No, I
You're
understand.
putting them somewhere where, you know, it could be used somewhere else.
So for the concessions now, and again, we've gone out for RFP a couple of times on this one as the contract was coming up. So back in October, November, we put out an RFP for field management and concessions. We had no responses to either. To both. It was actually under one. So then we met with you and we said, okay, let's split it into two. And we got and that was in January. And we got a response for the management Nobody applied for the concessions. So it turns out, though, that the response we got from management would have subcontracted out the concessions, like the current arrangement we have right now. So regardless, we don't have concessions right now. And so concessions were for approved community events. It handled all the licenses, the staffing operation, managing the inventory, equipment, sanitation, refuse, and winterization. We're going to have to issue another RFP for concessions to see if anybody will respond. Or we can, and there's been some conversations that maybe we can look at permitting for food trucks. And because, so here's the thing with the concessions is that the company that was doing the concession with all the licensing and the inventory and the cleaning and certifications and all of that also provided their own equipment. That's an empty room. So even for us to just say take over, if we were doing the inventory and the staffing and all of that stuff, it's an empty room. There's no equipment.
Can I ask you something?
Mhm.
One of the emails that I received argued that whoever was managing the concessions was subcontracted out.
Yes.
So could we just work directly with them?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I've checked into that. We're going to check again, but so it was kind of a package deal. But yes, we're going to check to see if, and there are vendors out there that again, we'll try again. We did talk to our food service providers here, Chartwell's, and said, hey, I mean, they have the state contract. They have all the cafeterias in the state. Hey, you guys do concessions? We would never touch that with a 10-foot pole. That is a logistical and staffing nightmare. We want nothing to do with it. So, and then we also had ideas about, all right, what if we did something with the student CTE program? And again, now we're into insurances. And I mean, so we could have purchased food from our food services provider for inventory, but it requires too much, and there's too much liability if there's a problem with the food that's being served. So that's why we really want to just stick with somebody who's licensed and will pass any inspection for sanitary and so on. So minimally, I mean, we're going to have to put out for another RFP for concessions or simultaneously look at food trucks. Insurance risk management. Now, under the contract, insurances were all collected, and actually the person we're contracting with had a big insurance policy over all that, for their own rentals. So that becomes our responsibility. And we do require for the renting of the turf field a higher degree of insurance than some of the other facilities, because generally when you're on the turf field, there's a lot of people running around into each other, and the chances of accident and injury escalates. Then staffing. So the contract we had provided event stewards and staffing for non-district events, conducts background checks, coordinates required police, fire, and emergency services. So for us to do it, we must either provide or require event site management for rentals, including facilities access. And so that event manager, the site manager, is when we're renting, we should have a representative of the district there in case there are parking problems, there are unruly van problems. the toilets get plugged up. Whoever's renting it needs to, I don't know how to use the PA system. I don't know how to operate the scoreboard. So one of the things that we had under the contract is that they provided a site manager who could troubleshoot and parking or using the equipment, or if there's a problem in the bathroom, there was somebody on site.
This one is my biggest fear because we do not have the staff. People, they don't want to come out on the weekends or the nights. They're working during the day for, and there's so many events that I can't imagine, and that we would be paying them over $50 an hour. So I don't think we'd make any money.
So, and just to continue, because there's a couple of other related ones, and again, the site manager for the parking, traffic logistics goes along with having that site manager. And then there's the other piece, which is the restrooms. So during our games with the contract, during rentals with the contract, the concession people who were subcontracted through the contract opened, closed, and cleaned the bathrooms. And they also cleaned up the field after use. Now, after rental use, our people cleaned up the field after our games. But not during rentals. Now, but the caveat is that the concession stand, when we had weekend games, home games, and the concession stand was open, the concession people, part of their paying us $7,000 is that they had the honor of cleaning the bathrooms. All right, so now we're during rentals and even our weekend games, we're going to have to bring in a custodian or hire somebody to clean bathrooms.
And there will be no concession.
But right now we have no concession. We had it as part, the bathrooms was an
But if
adjunct to
we
it.
take it on, there is no food during our athletic events.
Correct. And I don't think the food truck people are going to want to go in and scrub toilets at the end of a game.
No, it would be
So-
two separate things.
Yes. So that it's one of the logistics we have to.
I'm curious because we have concessions at Pacheco, right? And they sell packaged
That
food.
actually, so I don't know how they do it. When the concession stand opened at Pacheco Park, I was in charge of the concession stand
Oh,
with
you
Wayne
were, so-
Naradoe for 2 years, but I was the Little League treasurer. Wayne Naradoe's family owned the Village Haven. We used to get food through them and order things. But we had Jean Gagnon, who worked for the Department of Health, and she had a food handler's license. So because she had her food handler's license, we had a fry later, we had steakums on Friday, we had fries, chicken nuggets. But we had somebody with a food handler's license. And I was very insistent on every family taking a turn in the concession stand. If you want us to feed your kids, you have to take a turn. And we did it for 2 years. And then it evolved, and that was over 20 years ago. So now I believe it's just Little League if they do it. And I think it's possibly a grill because I think all of the cooking equipment was removed.
Well, so my boys were in there and we would take turns doing concessions. And when there was nobody with food handlers with license, we would sell chips and candy bars,
Right.
water. So there was no grilling or cooking. I mean, would that be an option here where we don't need to, have somebody that's licensed and we're just selling, a more limited set of things, but still offering something?
But it's
Who's
getting
doing it?
the bodies to show
Uh,
up.
Well, even when we talk about purchasing from, because you know, we have the statewide contract for food services, and Chartwell's has amazing buying power for, you know, that, yeah, we could purchase, for example, through Chartwell's or Amazon, Walmart, whatever, sell packaged food. All right. I'm sure we could do that. But then, and again, I talked to see if we could arrange something with the business CTE. So what if we had a student enterprise purchasing food there, reselling it up there? We're looking at a faculty advisor. We're looking at paying the students. And then I did ask, okay, we could do this. How about students cleaning the toilets afterwards? And at which point, a lot of the interest has dropped. So, and again, for me, it wasn't the concessions as much as the management and the cleaning. I have pictures of the bathrooms after events, and
We don't want to.
I'm not going to put it up on the screen. And you know that there's a lot of people out there who take great pride in what comes out of their bodies and how they can vandalize something. It's an issue. So, I think that's, you have this in your document. So we're at kind of it's sort of a junction that, and again, I'm just going to take a step backwards. As much as there were complaints about the contract that we were under, for us with limited resources, it worked really well because it gave us a guaranteed revenue stream, and it took off so many of the headaches from us. We, before the concession stand, and before we used our COVID money to redo the field and didn't ask the town for it, we did our own rentals. And my memory over this last decade, it just gets worse and worse, but some of my most vivid memories have to do with disputes over rentals, in that, and you guys weren't on the school committee at the time, but it seemed like every other month or so, there was somebody coming up to the podium from a town league or a town something or another, looking for special waivers or consideration for fees or anything, or usage. It was just, and when we redid the field and the concession stand went in, we thought, okay, we got to break this out and have somebody dedicate to it. And that's what we had. But there was a lot of speculation and anxiety and throughout the community over this. Just like when we ran it, there was anger and speculation, and, you know, so, but here we are. We can run it for the year. We can try to replicate what we had. I don't know if we would break even.
No.
We could, and let's take a look at how other districts handle this around the state. I gave you an example of pricing for Burrville. All right, Burrville charges more money. Now, and I'm not talking about the athletic field, but for like the baseball field and things like that, they charge a fee for town groups. We're looking to waive that. All right. But the difference is that their facilities, athletic facilities, are run by the town. They have a director, they have staff, they have an infrastructure, to handle it. Other districts may have a beautiful turf field and track, and the town may run it as part of a larger
I
parks and
believe
recreation.
Cumberland, the
Yes.
town handles it.
Other districts, it's for the school. We don't rent. Right? We run the facilities for our kids. All right. And that's another, like, for example, other thing we were in, I heard, a couple of nights ago, I heard that it was a week or two, Wednesday night, someone was passing by the turf field and there were adults on the field, looked like some team, with all Massachusetts plates in the parking lot. Didn't go through us. We keep the gates unlocked because if we lock the gates, everybody complains they can't walk the track. So we'll keep the gates open for the community to use, but what that means is that people come in and they just use the field. We have no control over that because we're not fully staffed with eyes on it all the time, nor do we have the ability to lock it up without people getting upset. They're upset if they can't access the track. They're upset if the bathrooms are closed. So it's a no-win situation up there. We've had people will come out to the field on the weekend with bolt cutters, and if they wanted to use the soccer net, which was bolted to the goalpost, cut the lock, pull it out, use it. I had somebody tell me that, oh yeah, we love to use that for Frisbee League. The gates are open so the town can use the track, but that means people using the field as well. So again, it's a no-win situation.
So I don't really have any idea of like the scope of the rentals. Like, are we talking about multiple rentals every day throughout the summer? Are we talking about like a couple a week? Like, what's the rental load?
Well, our largest renter was actually the person we had the contract with, and they rented 160 hours. So
For a year, or is that
per year? All right, and so say if it's $150 an hour, and and we have in our procedure, if you have an extended rental, there's a discount, but
I think
it did not total $35,000. It was less to just be a renter. It was cheaper than managing it. So you're talking, say if it's 100 an hour, and this case, they provided their own site manager and bathrooms and cleanup and all that. Say if even it was $100 an hour, and they provided all the other services. All right, then it's $16,000, whereas we got paid $35,000. If we were to add on, all right, we provide the site manager, we're going to clean the bathrooms and all that, but then we have to pay our people to do all the other stuff. It still comes down to less money. Express was the next one. They rented 4 weekends in the fall, 10 hours, 40 hours. Outside of that, smaller groups. Those were the main ones. There were other people who used the field that we didn't charge them. Smithfield youth soccer. The summer program, there's a high school
Summer.
Rhode Island summer. We're not charging for that. uh, Special Olympics had wanted to use our field. Yeah, come on in, use it. So we didn't charge for that. So we don't have, we're not turning away hundreds of thousands of dollars in possible rentals, because here's the other thing. Our kids are on there all the time, you know? The weekdays, weeknights, a lot of the weekends, it's our teams. There's not a lot of open space for renters, especially renters who are willing to work around our schedules. So,
I think it's just important to say that obviously we can do the work, right? We can run it ourselves. But you're taking all those resources. So you're taking business office resources, facilities resources, custodial resources, athletic resources, which kind of almost doesn't even tie. And you're devoting that to renters. Those are hours being taken away from the school's work. And we haven't had that now in a few years. We've been taking in a check. Everyone's been renting.
they've
The
gotten
majority of people have been happy. We will not see revenue like this on our own because we're gonna be paying people out for site management, for custodial, for all the things that we're not paying for right now.
No, and we have
So I just think like that's like the
other
whole thing is
ways to
resources.
generate revenue in that there are other things that we partnered with, NSAA, for example. They for their fundraising, they get revenue from the sign rentals out on the field. And that was in place when I came aboard 10 years ago. And then during COVID, we made a change because NSAA was struggling with volunteers and with fundraising. We also wanted to make our field accessible to families and games and such, that we said to instead of us collecting ticket fees, which we did collect gate receipts, and we did have students that we paid, to $1 to get entry or whatever. And and that was difficult to manage, again, from the finance standpoint, with all the little dimes and dollars and then matching up with all the tickets and, because of all the accounting that has to go with it behind the scenes. I said to Mike Black when he was running it at the time, why don't we get out of the ticket collecting business and NSAA collect some donations and try to make it as free and accessible to the community to come and enjoy our home games. So we don't collect on the ticket receipts, we don't collect on the signage, and now we're going to be out of pocket for game management. And I mean, we can again put on surcharges, but then we're looking at our own staff and availability, taking them away out of the buildings to, go clean out there, especially when it comes to a renting situation.
Cause
And
yeah, and our employees aren't volunteering, so
Yeah.
when we gave the gates away, we would have to go back to collecting gates, but it's kind of a wash because we're paying someone to sit there and take the gate, so it's at least the NSAA can find a volunteer, take the gate, take the money and do
And-
something good with it.
And
We have to pay someone.
Alan is walking around. He's on a vacation day today, but he came in because I asked him. So I'm sure you have specific maintenance, custodial, cleaning, those types of questions. So there is no question. I'm just calling you to the podium. I don't know if you have any questions, comments, concerns.
Microphone.
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 You got the iron bust. I'll give you an example. If I came up there tonight, if that was our rental, I would have to have someone up there watching the game. But I don't have that person because we're cleaning the buildings. And especially in the winter, we have sports in the building, in the fall, we have sports in the building and then sports up there. I can't have two people in two places at the same time. So it makes more sense for us to have someone go up there, manage it and run. I mean, the situation we had with Rob, whether you like it or not, it doesn't have to be him, is you rented it and maintained it. And all we have to do is watch it. Make
Could
sure
you,
that he did
could you move the mic closer to your mouth? Thanks.
All he had to do was make sure that he did what he was supposed to do, which he was doing, whether it be him or someone else. It just doesn't make sense for us to take on extra work. I mean, we're busy in our department. As you can see, we take pride in our schools. We maintain the field. We do clean the bathrooms, you know, we do everything up there. We cut the grass every week up here. It always looks nice. That's not gonna happen if we take it all. That's all. It's a big, you know, it's not a small thing, especially with the snack bar up there. I can't leave the bathrooms open and leave because if something happens, whether it be someone clogs the toilet or an incident where someone's in the bathroom and if someone goes in, if there's a problem, we need to have people up there. And we need to lock them if something does happen, you know, lock them when it's done.
No, and for our home teams, our own game, you know, we do have a game manager up there, one of our people. But they're more for crowd control and parking. They haven't had to deal with clogged toilets and other things like that.
Yeah.
Or clean up after a rental, after a game. So.
Anyway, for what it's worth. It's time for me to go.
Here's your phone call.
Yeah. Check the phone, got a call. Thank you, Alan.
So I'm curious about the price point, because we're talking about, I lost it, was $150 an hour for,
Say 150.
whatever it is.
And it includes lights. Yeah.
The Barville pricing you shared, I mean, for Levy to rent that out, it's 300 something an hour.
That's the ice rink. Their field, Glendale, I think, is 150.
I mean, it seems like,
And
you know, we're talking about there are all these associated costs with, you know, extra people that have to be there and opening concessions and cleaning and everything. I mean, that whatever we charge there has to at least cover that. I mean, we're talking about, you know, charging something that doesn't even cover that. So I guess my question is like, is there a price where people are just not going to rent the field? It's not going to be enough to cover our costs unless we price it at a point where private entities don't want to rent the field.
yeah, so they can always rent a Barville, you know, 150. And because the town's running it, I'm assuming there is no surcharge for bathrooms or concessions. I think their new field is going to have concession stand. But they do have restroom facilities, but that's managed by their public works. So
Okay, I don't know. I know there's an individual who I think gets paid to just handle this for the town
it could be that too.
and the school. And I think it becomes a stipend
Mhm.
type of situation. I don't know.
It's like a town rec director.
I don't even know if he's that. I don't know what it is. I know the levy rink, I believe the concession stand in the ice rink. And this is what my sister said, oh, you have to try their food. They used to be a food truck and now they're in
Yeah.
here and it's got really good food. So I don't know. I feel like
I mean, we could
we
look.
can't
We have talked
hire
about-
somebody. It has to
Yeah.
go out to bid, correct? We can't hire anyone direct. We could hire someone on a stipend or no?
We could hire.
I just don't think you're gonna have this, less about the money, more about the humans. I don't think we have the people to be up there every night during rentals. That's, I think, where we're kind of, I
agree
think it's
with you.
resources over money. I mean,
I agree with you.
the money's
I
a
don't-
problem, yes, but the resources, I think, are.
So if there was, you know, for a flexible hour person to go up there to open, close bathrooms, clean. I mean, we're not, I'm not even getting into the whole game manager, site manager, or parking thing. I'm just talking the logistics of bathrooms and cleaning. Probably could do that. I don't know if that causes a union problem.
Well, I was going to
You
say,
know, so does,
if we go out to bid and we get an outside entity, that's fine. I believe,
Hmm.
if we don't have the staff to do it. But at the same time.
You'd have to
any-
negotiate it with the union probably. If you needed to hire like a cleaning company or a custodial company, you'd have to negotiate, I would think, with the union. I don't know.
Or-
I don't know.
I don't.
or a guy with a trash bag and a scrub brush.
It's the thing, and so that person.
You're retiring.
That's wonderful.
He's coming back to take pictures for us.
Photo and a glove.
A photo and a glove.
I know that I don't want to know that educational funds
Mm.
are being used to clean bathrooms, okay? Or run a concession stand. That's not where our dollars should be going.
Well, it sounds like if we made this switch, we'd have to start charging more to help pay for some of these things. Right now, what we've proposed is we're not charging anybody from town for anything,
It
almost.
would become a wash, because if we got the $200, because again, it's a 4-hour minimum, we don't have the manpower to even go and do it. So we need that $200 because we may need to hire, I don't know, somebody on the site to come and clean the bathroom.
Yeah, and we took down all the fees because if it comes back to us, you'll have someone at the podium every single day asking to waive fees and to waive insurance requirements. I mean, I think I spent so many hours on insurance requirements. Whereas when they rent from this company, it's like no messing around. They send the exact thing that they need and then the person gives them that. When it's us, they don't do that for us. It's like they tell them what's required, they get it. Us, they'll be here next meeting. They can't afford that insurance. They can't do this. They can't do that. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I have no idea.
Do we, stupid question.
Do we just not rent it?
Do we have to rent the field?
Right. Do we just stop what we're doing? We remove the revenue. So you have to also
It's-
remember that the school committee a while ago made us put that revenue in the general fund. That's 50 grand that's coming out. So we're short another 50.
I mean, the important thing to me is that we're serving first our
Just our
students
people.
and our town, our school community, right? I mean, the rental thing, we're not in this to make money. We're trying to have a
No,
field.
and I
and-
think it's our responsibility to raise all the money to replace that field. Our job is to educate our children and to allow the town to use the facilities when we can.
Which is what we
What
try
we do.
with hopefully their assistance on this,
Mhm.
their assistance. Help us clean. Use the porta johns.
Well, that's. what
Don't
it's
demand the
come down
toilet,
to.
the restrooms get open for every event, everything.
So I wonder if we could potentially have a working meeting with some of these groups that use the field and get their input. They're the ones who are out there having these issues. I think it'd be good if maybe
Yeah.
somebody from town council was there to represent that and could advocate for needs within the town. And just get people talking about how to solve this problem.
Well, I think if someone had an idea out there, because from some of the feedback that we've gotten, people have said, we have an idea, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
But what is the idea? What is the
Yeah.
plan? And we just really don't know that. This whole issue has taken up a lot of our brain power and our energy, and it is totally ridiculous. And from the day that contract was signed, I have to say that I signed that contract because our chair at the time recused himself. So I signed that contract and I really kind of feel a little guilty about that. But as I say, it's taken up a lot of our time. We're caught between a rock and a hard place. There's just no doubt about that. Third-party management is not the ideal situation, and we've heard a lot of complaints from, well, several people anyway, who's are I guess, representing a lot of other people from what we've heard. Would it be easy to not continue the contract? Absolutely, it would be easy to do that, but there's no plan in place. We don't have a plan, and we've tried. There's just no doubt about it. We've tried to have gone out to bid. We've tried separating the responsibilities, and there's been no response except for one. So if there's a definite workable plan out there that someone can give to us, then it would at least be something that we could consider, but we just don't have that in place right now. This special sheet that you gave us that details the pros and the cons, basically, it's fairly easy to see that continuing is the best choice for us. And listening to what you're saying, not even reading between the lines, it's very obvious what everybody thinks would be our best decision to make. And for me, another consideration is the monies that we are losing this year because of the state, the state not giving us what we need. If the town council doesn't give us what we might need and the taxpayers don't give us what we might need, we could be looking at, in fact, I just asked Alicia tonight.
Almost a million in cuts.
$500,000 to $1 million that we have to cut. And so I'm just concerned about all these extra costs that we're talking about tonight too. I honestly don't know what to do. Do I want to go ahead with this contract? Not particularly, but do I feel that maybe we have to? Maybe.
Well,
That's
and again, I put that there. I think the town has spoken very loudly. They don't want to see a third-party manager. But I wanted to be very clear that this is much more nuanced than I think a lot of people understand. And I know there were, like I said, a lot of speculation, maybe some personality issues. You separate out all of this. It was an agreement that worked very well for us. And there was movement and people got their time. They got scheduled and they paid and we got paid. And the bathrooms were open and it worked well for us. But the general consensus out there is that it didn't. And maybe there's a better way to do it. Personally, I'm not seeing it right now. But we can do what the people in the town feel that they would like to see. They may not be happy with it. We could try this out for a year. We could take a break for a year and not do big outside rentals. And just take care of our own kids. And the odd use, I mean, the Rhode Island summer soccer thing, I looked at it. And if a town doesn't, families pay money for this. But the deal is, if the town doesn't let you use their field for free, they're going to charge the families an extra $100, for the summer on top of the regular. So yeah, we'll give them the field. They had the field free for the past 4 years anyway. This year it went weird. I don't know, but even us self-managing it, we'll give it to them for free because we don't want the league to charge our kids an extra $100 to use our facility.
I mean, I'd really like to get the people who are having these problems involved in finding
the
a
working
solution.
group.
Whether it's a self-managed solution or whether it's working through what the friction was with the third-party management and finding better ways to do that. I think it's going to be important to get them involved and have some buy-in.
I just said to Jean, does the school committee have public hearings on something like this? That if you have an opinion and you have an idea, you need to show up.
So we could, for next month, do a working public session, and I'll tell you what was going to happen tonight if we were going to sign this thing. it would have been a very negative public session.
Mhm.
But if we're putting it out there and if we want to use a bit of time at the next school committee meeting for input and ideas and thought, as opposed to coming up to the podium and being decidedly negative, I'd rather have
I don't want a
no,
trashing
that's-
anybody. I mean,
no,
that
not at all.
I will shut down.
We're past
I
that.
would-
We're past that.
I would like, if it's, whether it be a public hearing or a work session,
Yeah.
that those who have an interest to please come to that meeting,
Mm.
because I need to hear the pros and the cons because
And
I only have heard from a handful of individuals.
we also, an option, school committee rep or two, meet with some of these people and our people during the day and sort of work things out and then maybe report out at the next school committee meeting. That's another possibility.
I would like all 5
Okay,
or 9
right. Yeah.
to
okay,
hear.
Good. Okay.
I think that rather than that, all right, this one
Yeah.
said this, and then you meet with somebody, and that one said that, and I think we need to hear what is the biggest problem?
Mhm.
What are your answers? If you have the answer, what's it gonna cost? Because I'm not spending education dollars on it.
Mhm.
I'm not. I mean, anybody else can, but that's my vote, no. So if we could do
Good plan.
something,
Good plan. All right.
and so we'll just continue and there's no votes, motions on this tonight.
Better get that gavel ready. Warm it up.
I left my house tonight. And I said it could be a very contentious situation tonight. And I kind of explained what was happening. And I said, I have a gavel to shut it down. And my son said, you have your voice also, Mom. I grew up with you. So I don't want to be yelling at anybody. I'll have to use the gavel, but I don't want that. I want this community to come to us and tell us exactly why we shouldn't or why we should continue it.
And how we could continue.
Yeah.
Right? They
well,
have to bring the ideas and they have to
Yeah.
bring the person who's going
Well,
to fix this.
Yeah, and I also think that the current contract, that ship has sailed, so I don't know if there's any recovering from that at this stage.
And maybe it would in a year's
So,
time.
Yeah.
Maybe it
so
would in a year's
this
time.
year,
So
I
this
think-
year,
I think we're looking at, okay, what's a school/community solution? And can you help us with this instead of all the expectations and the complaints that will follow?
right?
Sounds like a plan.
Right, so there is no vote or other action will be, we need a
Madam Chair?
community meeting.
May I suggest too that we, at some point, we reach out specifically to our Parks and Rec people and also, maybe NSCA. I mean, if we haven't done that yet, just bring them in, just to see just to get what input we can have from them.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else? So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Bye.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.